many do. This is your station, Midstate Television 689.
A man dies in an accident at a gold mine near Cargo, west of Orange. And the itinerant trader, Shanghai Charlie, arrested twice today in confrontation with police and council officers. Good evening. Also tonight, Orange and Bathurst could again be top of the list for an army school site. A 38-year-old man was killed in a mining accident at Cargo in the Long Gully mine west of Orange this morning. Rescue workers attended the accident but were unable to save the man's life.
Rescue units from Cowra, Orange and Canowindra were called to the scene shortly after 9 this morning. The man was trapped 130 feet down the mine shaft. Police say it appeared he'd been pinned to the wall by a large piece of mining equipment. When the first rescue workers got down to the mine, the man had been released from the position. The ambulance workers administered life-sustaining treatment for 20 minutes but failed to revive him. One rescue worker at the scene said the man had received crushing injuries in the accident and would probably have died fairly quickly. The Cowra-based ambulance rescue squad took the body from the mine at about 11. His workmates, obviously shaken by the accident, showed police the scene of the accident. The man's name has not yet been released. He's 38 years old and lived in Orange, working at the Long Gully mine, which has been drilling for gold on the site about 1 kilometre from Cargo for some time. Police say it will probably be some days before the man's name is released. John Flynn reporting, Midstate News.
Travelling trader Shanghai Charlie Seal was arrested for trading in Orange's Summer Street and Robertson Park today. The arrest comes as Seal pushes his case to be allowed to trade in the Orange Drive-In this weekend, along with hundreds of other traders.
Mr. Searle set up his trailer in Summer Street this morning, attracting a traffic ticket, a large supportive crowd and the police in that order. After refusing to cease trading, police arrested him. After closing up shop, he was taken to Orange Police Station, where he was charged with refusing to obey a reasonable request from police. He was released on bail to appear in Orange Court on Friday morning. With several supporting shoppers, he then confronted Orange Town Clerk Bill Marshall and then Orange Mayor Tim Sullivan. They became involved in a heated argument over a development application Mr. Seal says he lodged with council, which they say was never received. That application asked for permission to hold a monster market with 400 traders at the old drive-in site on Saturday. Mrs. Seal then attempted to lodge a copy of the application but was refused because of insufficient information, meaning the markets cannot go ahead at the drive-in theatre venue. But that doesn't seem to have stopped Mr. Searle.
So the market will take place. It'll take place in that park over there because that's owned by the council. They say it's for everybody to go on to. Well, I'm everybody, and so is all the people. So everybody will come there come Saturday because I'll be there with everybody.
Meanwhile, Orange Mayor Tim Sullivan says he's concerned about the way the issue has blown up.
And the whole thing is totally unnecessary and it's distasteful as well, in that if Mr. Seal takes the same course of action that any other person in this town who wants to set up a business or wants to come to this town or any other town and set up a business, all he has to do is follow that procedure. Mr. Seal has been told that, and then council will then consider whether Mr. Seal's application can happen or not, and if it was to the point that it was negative, we would not. He has the right to go to court.
Later in the day, Mr. Searle drove his trailer onto Robertson Park and began trading, attracting a large crowd and the attention of the Orange City Council's Health Department. Mr. Searle was charged with selling in a public reserve, this is Robertson Park, without permission. He was released on bail and will appear on both charges from today on Friday morning in Orange City Court. In the meantime, he's vowed to bring 400 traders from Paddy's Flemington markets to Orange on Saturday morning. Just what will happen then is anyone's guess, but it appears the confrontation between Mr. Searle and Orange City Council is far from over. Michelle Mention in Orange for Midstate News.
The Orange Bathurst area could well find itself subject of another study for an army base. Sources have told Midstate News that Defence Minister Beazley will next week announce environmental impact studies into several possible Army locations. One of these is the Cobar Shire, while another could be Orange Bathurst, following reported unease in Army circles about the choice of Singleton as an Army school site. Ross Andrews today confirmed in Canberra that the Defence Minister will make a statement, possibly on Tuesday, about base sites and environmental impact studies. But the Minister's office won't comment on the Bathurst Orange possibility at this stage. The youths responsible for the controversial Festival of Arts poster today defended their action. The young people say their critics are incredibly narrow-minded and scared of the message that the posters bring. The project will culminate in the delivery of a message from the youth of the world carried from Sydney by marathon runners.
The notorious posters appeared on Monday morning and received an instant reaction from shopkeepers and property owners around the town, most of it unfavourable. Now the festival organisers say that some favourable comments are coming in, but the protest still remains. Some of the strongest protest comes from the local ABC radio station 2CR, which has said it cannot give its support to an event which breaks the law. Today, a number of the youths who put up the posters answered questions from the media, some of the most aggressive coming from 2CR's Stuart Lord. The youths had a number of comments to make. They said they'd made a great effort to keep the posters tidy. It was the people who left them half ripped off that were making the mess. They said they knew they were breaking the law and that they would accept the responsibility and not the festival's organisers. Most vehemently, they responded to the suggestion that they were only the pawns of festival artist Mike Mullins. This wasn't true, they said. The young people involved in the project were providing the core of its message. Just what that message will be is a secret, but its creators had plenty to say about it today.
We're just trying to point out just one little message. It'll have about, I don't know, about 50 words in it. One message just to the world or to Australia, wherever it goes.
So what it boils down to is we're practically getting in trouble for determining our future. In the long run, you'll probably die before us, so you might have a say in it. But it's our future. We have to start somewhere.
In spite of all the furore, the posters are only one small part of the project, and we're assured that all will be made clear when it comes to a climax in a week and a half. And none of the remainder of the project is illegal, so one thing is certain, it will go ahead. John Flynn reporting, Midstate News.
The teachers' dispute over the sacking of a colleague reaches the Western area. We'll have details in just a moment. And just repeat.
Lollygobble Bliss Bombs. Everyone's idea of bliss.
And just repeating our major stories for tonight, a 38-year-old man dies in a gold mine accident near Cargo. Another confrontation between an itinerant trader and the law in Orange, and the Orange Bathurst region could again be on the list for an army base, according to Canberra sources. Secondary teachers in some Orana and Far West schools began a series of rolling strikes today over the sacking of Bega maths teacher Richard O'Neill. Schools affected in the viewing region include Dubbo South, Nyngan, Cobar and many far western schools, while tomorrow's industrial action will affect Dubbo High, Wellington, Yeovil, Peak Hill, Gulgong, Dunedoo, Coolah, Manduran, Binaway, Coonabarabran, Gilgandra, Narromine, Trangie and Coonamble. Teachers Federation representative Kathy Cousin said what is happening at Bega can and will happen at local high schools unless something is done.
The significance of teachers supporting Richard O'Neill, I think, is that Richard O'Neill is in a school where they have 9 extra students this year, but 3 less teachers for 1985. So obviously, if Richard O'Neill is not reinstated, then it has long-term consequences for other schools who will, in years to come, just continue to lose staff.
South Dubbo Parents and Citizens Association has reacted angrily to a letter informing them that the upgrading of school facilities has been postponed yet again. They claim the school has been on priority lists for renovations for the past 17 years, and according to spokesperson Carmel Stanford, the parents are fed up.
This saga, as you call it, has been going on for 17 years. We've been told repeatedly that we're on priority lists, but basically nothing in the way of major works have been done.
Parents say the major problem is the infant school's toilet block. It was marked for demolition as far back as 1968.
They're very old toilets. They're open to the weather. When it rains, the children get wet even inside the toilet, one of the toilet blocks. They're at a great distance from all the classrooms, and the hand washing facilities are all outside and again situated at some distance from the toilets, so that they're not, the children are not immediately reminded to wash their hands after using the toilets, and this is a health problem as well.
The school canteen is the other major point of contention. Today, 6 mothers on canteen duty are falling over each other in this one square room. By dint of necessity, their preschool toddlers are perched obediently on space-saving stools.
The other problems are that because of poor drainage in the playground, whenever it rains, the children are actually standing in water to be served at the tuck shop. And although the inside is small, the outside servery area is also small, and children, the recess and lunch hour have to be staggered in an attempt to allow children access to the tuck shop.
Mumblebone Stud near Warren was the site of a water bombing demonstration by 2 new crop dusting air tractors yesterday. The demonstration was organised by the Stud's owner and District Bushfire Brigade Captain Dick Rutledge.
Present at the demonstration were Warrenshire President Ross Hunt, council representatives and Dubbo City Fire Controller Terry Toll. The air tractors have recently been purchased for local crop dusting by Macquarie Valley Airspray proprietor Ralph Smith. He says he learned of their water bombing potential while working with Max Hazelton in Cudell. In the first demonstration, the planes virtually wiped out a small backburn, and in the second, a wind change found them working on the tail end of a larger fire. Nevertheless, Warren authorities were not unimpressed with their usefulness.
I think that they can be a very helpful tool in probably killing the front of a bushfire, particularly in this country that we've got here, in this Macquarie Marsh country. It's very heavy and rough and difficult to get in with equipment. And the aircraft could beat the lead of a breakout fire and make it much more ease the whole situation for putting it out at a later date.
Councillor Hunt says Warrenshire supports the idea and would like to see the Bushfire Council extend its funding, which at the moment applies only to planes employed for spotting purposes. He says any relevant firefighting tool should be funded if it's appropriate to the terrain. That's not a view echoed by Fire Controller Terry Toll. Mr Toll says funding for plane water bombing in the Warren area would set a precedent for other areas where the planes would not be effective or where their use would be limited.
Well, I think they've got a limited application, Fran. In this particular type of country where you've got a lot of logs and high grass and where you would be perhaps fighting a low height fire, I think they would have quite a good application, mainly because your vehicles would not be able to get through this sort of territory. Once the fire reached any major proportions, I would suspect that they would not have a great deal of effect on the outcome of a fire that size.
Orange artist Greg Turner's latest collection returns from a successful tour. Details shortly.
When you book to London with British Airways, we don't just book your flight. We can have a rented car ready for you from just $19 a day. A hotel in London from just $16 a night. And we'll even give you a return ticket to any one of 8 European cities, including Paris. Absolutely free. It's all in the world's favourite holiday book at your travel agents. British Airways, the world's favourite airline.
A touring art exhibition made a reappearance in Orange today. The North Orange Rotary Club's exhibition of paintings by local artist Greg Turner has been touring country areas and receiving rave reviews throughout New South Wales and Victorian country centres.
The 40 paintings in the exhibition have been touring New South Wales and Victoria for some time. They were commissioned by the North Orange Rotary Club as part of a bicentennial project. Orange artist Greg Turner spent 12 months touring Australia painting wilderness scenes for the project. Today the paintings arrived back in Orange and were being unloaded. They were all sold at an exhibition last year, and the owners for the 40 from the accompanying book, This Wilderness Is Ours, lent theirs for the tour. The tour of the paintings will continue and will leave Orange again at the weekend.
Next weekend they're off to the Blue Mountains, and we hope after the Blue Mountains they will go to the Gold Coast. So we then hope then give the paintings back to the people that own them. All the paintings have been sold, and the people have very generously, who own them, have lent the paintings so we can take them around and give the people of New South Wales and Australia the opportunity to look at Greg Turner's works. Now the proceeds of this, we hope when we do eventually make a profit out of this, the proceeds will go to a project yet to be determined at the Orange Base Hospital.
The book, This Wilderness Is Ours, has been selling well. Many people are buying the book because they can't purchase the original paintings. It features 40 of the best paintings done by Greg Turner. John Brennan says overall the entire project has been a big success.
Parkes, Forbes, Coonabarabran, Mudgee and Orange are among more than 100 towns across the state to turn officially 100 years old today. Today also is the climax of the year of celebrations to mark Bathurst's 100th official year as a city. And now with today's rural news and market details, here's Peter Andren.
Good evening. Over 1 million sheep in New South Wales will be used to test 2 new lice control chemicals. Ross Andrews reports the new chemicals are different from other lice controls in that they can be used on sheep with long wool, overcoming the need to shear them for lice control.
Sheep lice can cost Australia as much as $100 million a year in lost wool production, and the lice can affect stock at any time, winter or summer, through contact with a neighbour's flock or through the arrival of stock from the sale yards. So far, wool growers have experimented with a huge range of controls. One control, the arsenical sheep dip, is in the news now because it'll be banned in Australia next year. It was a popular method of controlling lice, but like this shower system, had its drawbacks in cold weather, when a soaking can cause a loss in condition. So, what's the alternative? Well, one is being offered by Commonwealth Industrial Gases, CIG, which has invited 7,000 wool growers in New South Wales to take part in a trial of 2 products, Bonus and Genus, for lice control. CIG claims that these are the only products either on official trial or on the market that will control lice on sheep carrying more than 3 months wool. Application of the 2 CIG chemicals, however, needs precision and therefore requires the use of the company's new race, nicknamed Oscar, which has an electronic eye that automatically separates sheep and ensures rogue sheep only get 1 application. I asked CIG's Tony Northern how effective the new chemicals were in comparison to the old-fashioned arsenical sheep dip when it comes to sheep carrying more than 3 months wool.
Ross, these chemicals employ new technology as far as chemical formulation is concerned to be specifically applied to those sheep with the longer wool, whereas the older dips, the arsenicals and others in that class, weren't really designed originally for use in the sheep with longer wool.
To the markets in Dubbo, 580 cattle, a dearer market there, mixed quality up 2 cents the medium light young cattle, up 3 for the heavy and extra heavy, up a cent for the light steers, up 2 the heavy steers, up a cent the light bullocks and firm for the heavy bulls, up a cent for the heifers and all categories of cows. Coonabarabran 550 cattle up 5 cents overall, good quality market, 111.2 the medium young cattle, 112 the light steers, 95 the light bullocks, 90 for the heifers, 72 the 1 and 2 cows, 68 and 85 for the 3s and 4s. 500 cattle in Binnaway, a dearer market, very plain quality, firm for all categories of young cattle, up 3 the light steers, up 4 cents the heavy steers, light bullocks and up 2 the heavy bulls, up 2 the heifers, up 3 the 1 and 2 cows, up 2 for the medium 3s and up 5 cents at 88.2 the 4s. 1,700 lambs in Binnaway, fair quality, a dearer market, up $2 for the older lambs, $2.50 the woolly mediums, up $1.50 the shorn and up $2 for the shorn heavies. 600 ground sheep, mainly merino, very plain quality, $11 the top for the ewes. 898 cattle in Bathurst, a good quality market, 106.2 the light young cattle, 114.5 the mediums, 113.2 the heavies. 112 the light steers, 99 the heavy steers, Down to the heifers, 94.2 the top there. 56 to 75 the range for the 1 and 2 cows, 67.6 for 3s and 81 for the 4s. 1905 lambs in Bathurst, of fair quality. At Deera Market, 1640 the woolly older lambs, 2180 the woolly mediums and 27 for the heavy woolies. 3,090 ground sheep at Deera Market, fair to good quality, $11 the heavy ewes and $15.60 the heavy wethers. 588 cattle in Orange at Deera Market, fair quality. 110 the light young cattle, 118.2 the heavies, 109 for the light steers, 98.2 for the light bullocks. Heifers range from 83.2 to 103.2, 74.6 the top for the 3s, 79.6 for the 4s. 1,927 lambs in Orange, fair to good quality, generally $1 to $3 up, $20.90 the older woolies, 18 for the shorn, 23.40 for the woolly mediums, 19.20 the shorn, 27.80 and 23 the tops for the heavies. 587 ground sheep, fair quality, a firm market, 12.50 for the heavy ewes, 12.40 for the heavy wethers. And that's the rural news and market details.
Thanks, Peter. And now with tonight's sport, here's Ross.
Good evening. A big crowd gathered at Orange's Hotel Canobolas last night for the naming of the Central West Sportsperson of the Year. This year's awards had taken on a new format, with each of the 7 participating towns nominating their local award winner before the final was held in Orange. Organisers last night spoke briefly about the change in format of the awards and feel that the new system, with each town running their own awards, gives all sportsmen and women a much fairer chance of having their achievements recognised. Besides the main award, the Junior Sportsperson of the Year and the Sports Administrator of the Year were announced. Well-known Wellington basketball official George Ling was named the Sports Administrator of the Year for his 25 years of service to the sport, both in fostering the game throughout his area as well as his active participation in refereeing. 4 finalists were named for the Junior Sports Award in Cowra show jumper Michael Lynch, short circuit motorcyclist Kylie Parsons of Forbes, 6-year-old Cowra BMX rider Larry Austin and champion Dubbo powerlifter Brett Pollard. It was finally Larry Austin who was named the winner, with an outstanding list of achievements over the past 12 months, including being placed second in the World BMX Championships in Japan last year. The main presentation of the evening brought together the leading 7 senior sports identities from the region, with Bathurst represented by dual nominees Brian Morgan and Wendy Burke for hockey, Junior Award finalist Michael Lynch from Cowra, prolific run scorer David Tink of Dubbo for cricket, Kylie Parsons of Forbes again for motorcycling, Orange hockey player John Ninnis, Parks rifle shooting marksman Bob Swindle and young Wellington Rugby League footballer Darren R.C. The Managing Director of Central West Ford, Rick Perry, whose company jointly sponsors the awards along with radio station 2GZ, made the announcement of the major winner, that being John Ninnis of Orange. Ninnis, the leading goal scorer for the Australian men's under-21 hockey team as they went on to win the Junior World Cup last year, is also a member of the New South Wales senior men's team. The prizes along with the award are valued at $5,000 and include a South Pacific cruise from P&O, $400 in spending money and a specially designed blazer. Ninnis, who has an extremely bright future in hockey, is aiming for higher representative honours if he can continue his current form.
Hopefully stay around with the senior team and sort of next steps to the Australian senior team if I can get there in a few years' time.
Now, 1988 Olympics coming up, and so any ambitions for there?
Yeah, I'd like to go to Seoul in '88. I'll be sort of keep on trying at it, see what happens.
Now, it must be quite difficult playing hockey in the country. You've had to go to Sydney to try and get that further experience, and you're still doing that, I believe.
Yeah, sort of the hockey in the sort of into the West is sort of downhill a bit now, and to try and keep into the state teams, you've got to go to Sydney, where it's a lot stronger down there, and you're sort of, you know, you're playing consistent games each week, so that's the only downfall with here.
And well done to all those finalists. Cowra Motorsports Club this Sunday are staging a special charity meeting at the Woodstock Park Speedway to aid the Lockvale Special School. A huge 50 event program is set down featuring sedan racing, the rough and tumble fender benders, Formula 500s and the super quick mini sprinters. The day's activities get underway from 10 o'clock Sunday morning with feature races during the afternoon session. That's all in this evening's sport. Roger.
Thanks, Ross, and Peter Andren with the weather details coming up shortly.
Right
Right now, you can get $150 off the superb Bernina 910, maybe more. Then you'll be sewing everything from heavy quilts to fine chiffon with complete confidence. This Bernina has all the stitches and features you could wish for. Stretch sewing, overlocking, automatic buttonholing, plus precision instant needle stop and handy thread cutter. So trade in your old sewing machine now and get a guaranteed $150 towards the Bernina 910.
Available from the following dealers.
Good evening. Well, another very warm night tonight, humid again, and a humid day with some showers persisting tomorrow. Looking at the map, a high in the Tasman is ridging across the continent to meet with another high near Perth. Easterly winds and cloud will cover the eastern half of the viewing area for the next 24 hours, with generally humid conditions and some storms and showers. For Sydney, a few showers tomorrow, 19 to 25. In the viewing area today, the upper western, northwest and central west, 34 at Burke and Brewarrina, and 33 at Walgett, the top scores. For the northwest slopes and plains tomorrow, a mild and humid night followed by a very warm and humid day, isolated showers and storms, northeasterly winds. The outlook warm to very warm and humid, a top around 28. For the upper western, mild night tonight, warm to very warm and humid, a shower or two in the east, but mainly sunny westwards, southeast to northeast winds. The outlook very warm and mainly sunny, a top around 32. For the central west slopes and plains, mild to warm and humid day, isolated showers and chance of a storm, northeast winds, and the outlook warm to very warm and humid, a top around 28. On the lower central west slopes and plains, central tablelands, 29 at Dunedoo and mid-20s elsewhere, the top temperatures. For the central tablelands, cool to mild night, mild to warm day, a few showers and chance of a storm, brief sunny periods and northeast winds, and the outlook humid and a few showers, a top around 23. On the southwest slopes, Riverina, 32 at Hillston, the top temperature, and 30 at Lake Jelligo. For the southwest slopes, mild and humid night, a warm and humid day, isolated showers and chance of storms, and the outlook for Friday, warm to very warm, a top around 26. For the Riverina, a mild night tonight, warm to very warm and humid day with light to moderate southeast to northeast winds, and the outlook there warm to very warm and humid, a top around 27. So much the same weather pattern for tomorrow, although it will gradually clear from the west. We should see the sun again by about late Friday and Saturday. Until then, good night.
Thanks, Peter. And now looking at tonight's top stories. A man dies in an accident at a gold mine near Cargo, west of Orange. And the itinerant trader, Shanghai Charlie, arrested twice today in confrontation with police and council officers. And that's Midstate Television News for tonight. I'm Roger Dunn. From all of us here, a very good night. We'll see you tomorrow. Good night.